What is going on, Nerd Paraders? Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for coming to hang here with me today as we play some ARK Survival Evolved and work on Project Old School. We're talking about some of the cool things that we're doing within Project Old School, and this video is going to assume that you kind of already know what's going on with Project Old School, but if you don't, it's okay, never fear. Just check out a couple of the previous videos here on this YouTube channel or the Project Old School playlist right here on the YouTube channel and get caught up to speed. But short version is we're rebuilding ARK, making our own perfect version of it to bring back that old school feeling that we all loved when we first started playing ARK. Anyway, introductions are in order. I am Nick, this is Nerd Parade. Welcome here to the channel, and thank you so much for coming to hang once again. So, today's video we're going to be talking about the ones that came before. That's right, the denizens of the ARK that happened to come before us, the survivors, and that are currently populating. You know, we don't know how many generations of humans or other types of creatures have been here before we got here and discovered our itchy implant as we wake up scratching it on the beach. We're going to be talking about not only something that never really made any sense to me as why they didn't exist, is wild baby dinosaurs and or creatures. So not only do we have wild infants roaming around the ARK, which I pointed out in previous videos, we have other types of more dangerous things. We're just trying to fix our pet peeves. Something that always bothered me is that every creature that you encountered on the ARK, or that had spawned in on the ARK after you've gone on a meat run or something, it was always an adult. For whatever reason, there was never any like life cycle. So here we have an example of a mother parasaur and their child. We're just roaming around feeding on the bushes and what have you, but I never understood why there weren't like wild babies. On Project Old School, there are wild babies, and we've talked about them in previous videos. That's not what this video is going to focus on, however. But as we're passing by them, they're going to be easier ways to tame the creature if you choose to tame it as a baby, but once you tame it, you still have to raise it. That's the trade-off. Or easier ways to murder the creature if you so choose, because murdering babies is a lot easier than murdering full-on adults. I know that sounds super weird out of context, but here we are. We're encountering the ones that came before. That's right, we have NPC humanoids, or NPC humans, who are just trying to beat me up. I'm in God mode, so they can't. These are the ones that came before. They're savage humans, or the ARK has warped their minds in the sense that they're just horrible cannibals, and they want to turn me into a shish kebab. So these guys exist to bridge the gap for us when it comes to environment and player. So you could call them the missing link, if you will. They're not necessarily Bigfoots, but they act as the bridge to the gap for our universe of Project Old School. So what we're going to do here is stop these guys from beating on us. We're going to stab one in the face. Okay, we killed a hacker. Oh my god. And that guy, we just broke all of his armor, and now he's running away. So now that we've murdered a hacker, we've learned from their as you can see, we're like getting a bunch of Ingrams. So if you know what's going on with Project Old School, and you know about our complete, I have a spear in my head, our complete Ingram revamp, these guys, these NPCs, especially that naked one right there and his crazy mustache, who I'm going to go after, these guys act as a medium, an in-between for us to discover and learn Ingrams. These guys have been here for who knows how many generations, and we're going to slaughter the crap out of them and learn all of their secrets, essentially. We've encountered these primitive villagers, and we just happen to get lucky here. Normally, you'll see little villages around that they have built. These NPCs will build random villages. They've planted some plant species X that keep freaking blasting me, so I'm going to kill these. But you'll see them also build campfires, crude houses, things of that nature. So when you interact with them, you're learning, so to speak, their primitive ways. Because you don't, as a survivor, you wake up on the beach. Not everybody is freaking Bear Grylls. You don't immediately know how to survive in your surroundings. So the whole idea with Project Old School is that you are your survivor. We're going to channel our inner roleplay for a little bit. You are your survivor, and you are waking up on a beach in some strange land. You don't instantly already know how to carpentry together houses. So you're going to have to learn these things. So we went in here with zero knowledge whatsoever, and we came out with thatch stuff. We came out with some wood stuff. We learned some storage bins. We learned a bookshelf, learned how to make a painting. All this from interacting with the ones that came before. These NPCs who have settled on this strange land before us, and we're essentially learning from what they already have discovered. So when I say that these guys act as a bit of a bridge between the gaps of players versus the environment kind of thing, you have the environment and then you have your players. So you've got your PvE and then your PvP. These guys kind of bridge the gap in the sense that they exist to teach you Ingrams that you may not know when coming into the ARK, as we talked about, like kind of channeling our inner roleplay. These guys also, as you may have seen in the Ingram spam on our screen, they have taught us, we got a hide hat out of the deal, we got some ghillie boots out of the deal, and let's see if we happen to get, okay, we did not get any blueprints. So, if you're unfamiliar with Project Old School, the Ingram system works as an RNG type of thing. So, we slaughtered 4, I think, of these NPCs. We can also grab their gear. So what they have a chance to drop what they're wearing as well. So we're going to grab their gear. We're going to learn how to make things based on an RNG system that we kill them or encounter them. In this case, they're trying to make us into shish kebabs, so we slaughtered them. We have unlocked their knowledge. They've given us ideas because we've seen these things in action. And not only do you have a chance to earn their gear, you have a chance to earn their gear as tiered, aka apprentice, journeyman, mastercraft, ascendant, so on and so forth. That's what I mean by tiered gear, as well as the blueprint version. So all of these drops are considered RNG based, which means that if you want to farm out gear, if you want to farm out blueprints, you can come here onto the ARK, the beaches, or wherever you see these NPCs, and slaughter them. You can ride on the back of your Rex and munch them and teach them a lesson for picking on you as soon as you spawned in. I'll teach you guys a lesson and farm out your gear that way. These NPCs are one of the sources of unlocking most of your bulk knowledge as well as your gear knowledge, your weaponry knowledge. Let's see if we actually learned new weapons. Maybe we got spear. Okay, we got spear. I don't remember if we had already known pickaxe or hatchet. We definitely got club, I remember. We got bolas, because we're prola with the bola. That guy was throwing bolas at us. Like, oh, we can make primitive bolas. Holy light bulb alert. We just encountered some bolas, so now we can make it for ourselves. Oh, that guy's whistling at me. He's like, hey, sexy, where you at? Okay, here you go. Let's see what you teach us. Stab. Okay, we killed the hunter. It's like, oh, man, that hunter just attacked us, but I saw some of his primitive technology, and now I got an idea. Oh, I learned how to make a hitching post, and a compost bin, and a slingshot, as well as an ocean platform, and a wood foundation. So as you can see, we're not unlocking everything at once, but the more that we kill these guys, the more of the villagers that the primitive ones, the ones that came before, the more of these villagers we encounter, the more Ingrams we're going to essentially unlock for ourselves. And as you can see, we're getting some beef jerky and some more hide gear. As you can see, the drop rate on the equipment is relatively low, and then blueprints are relatively low. If I had to give you a number, if you're going to be like, well, how low is it, Nick? I would say the chance to get a tiered item and in armor format is probably roughly around 5%. The chance to get a blueprint from farming these guys is also going to be roughly around between 3 and 5%. So think of it in like, we took a lot of inspiration from this from like World of Warcraft when it comes to farming for rare drops and things of that nature. So you're going to have to slaughter a lot of these guys, and eventually as your character advances in the ARK, you'll have tamed some form of dino. In the instance I'm going to pitch you, it's a T-Rex, and you'll be walking around stomping around really, along the ARK, all badass-like, and you encounter some of these dudes and like, oh hey, I might be able to get some gear out of this guy. So it's going to encourage you to munch these primitive humans who have lost their mind and try to eat you for lunch. So if you're watching this up to this point and you're like, holy crap, Nick, that was a lot of information to take in, we're going to simplify it for you. The NPCs exist as a bridge the gap type of creature on the ARK that helps you unlock things Ingram related that you may not necessarily know if you were your character spawning into an ARK for the first time. You got abducted, there's some strange implant in you, and you don't know how to make thatch houses or wooden houses. Well, these NPCs, you're going to encounter them in the wild, and it's actually very rare that we saw one with just plant species X and no campfires or no wooden structures or beds. These NPCs exist to teach you how to make these structures so that you could start evolving your own character and unlocking these knowledges. And we wanted to make it pretty plentiful. So when you encounter them, you're like, holy crap, a lot of knowledge. Now, we've unlocked thatch and we've unlocked wood really quickly. And that's something that we wanted to happen. We wanted you to unlock your building materials like really quickly. So the percent rate for you to learn these base tier structure Ingrams is really high. Really, really. I mean, I'm talking like 70 to 80% chance on your kill to learn some of these things. Stone tier has a lower chance to unlock. What we did unlock was a stone fireplace, interestingly enough, but stone tier has a lower chance to unlock, and even a greater unlock being metal. We wanted to make sure that stone and metal tier weren't just the first tiers that you jumped right into. We want there to be some kind of progression. If you've been following along with Project Old School, you may have noticed us talk about a built-in progression system that we have in place. This is a very small piece of that progression system, but it does function as a kind of like a cog in the system to where that you are unlocking quite easily thatch and or wood to protect yourself from the elements. So our goal with this system is to bring in some really cool RPG elements into ARK Survival Evolved that would make logical sense in an ARK universe. As I've mentioned in previous videos, something that always kind of irked me is the Ingram unlock system. You stand next to some dude for 20 minutes who's making narcotics after getting a couple of explorer notes in the world, and you're like, holy crap, I'm already level 70. Look at all these magical knowledge points I have. I've never encountered a Tyrannosaurus Rex in the wild, but let me learn how to make a saddle for one before I've ever seen one. Like, that was always something that kind of irked me. So with Project Old School, the redesign of the Ingram system has been a lot of fun for us. So we kind of ran with that fun, and we're like, okay, so in the world, what creature would teach you how to make some kind of housing structure for yourself? And we're like, beavers maybe? And we're like, no, that's dumb, not beavers. And we're like, well, what if there were other humans on the ARK? Maybe they've been here for generations and they've lost their mind. The ARK has them and their only concern is survival. So if you see them, they may attack you. Now, I'm also alluding to something else that's going to come in the future as well. But you may encounter some kind of NPCs that are friendly and will help you, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. For this one, we're focusing on the more hostile NPCs, and as I mentioned, these guys were the perfect logical example of, oh, I can learn how to make structures from these primitive humans that came before us, and they've lived on the ARK and have somehow managed to survive for all these years, and they have learned how to build houses for themselves. I will use that knowledge. Light bulb. So interacting with your environment causes these light bulbs, and maybe you're not a master hunter and you don't know how to assemble a ghillie suit, but you encounter these other NPCs who've made one, and you're like, oh, I picked one up off this guy's corpse, and I think I can maybe make some ghillie boots now, which actually happened to us. We learned how to make ghillie boots just from this type of thing. So these are the kind of RPG elements that I really like in games, and we're bringing it into ARK Survival Evolved. Now, at its core and at its nature, Project Old School is not going to change the survival aspect of ARK Survival Evolved. We're just sprinkling in a little RPG elements here and there that we feel like makes a lot of sense and enhances our overall survival experience. And NPCs, as well as the babies that I had mentioned before, it never really made sense to me that there weren't any type of NPCs on the ARK. The only other humanoids that you encountered were other players. Now, if you were a person that preferred to play ARK Survival Evolved completely solo or in single player mode and offline, and you were the loneliest human on the ARK, that never really made any sense that there weren't any other surviving humans outside of just you. So we wanted to make sure that the ARK didn't feel as lonely, and also gave us a perfect vessel to unlock construction-related Ingrams. So as you could probably tell, I'm really hyped up and excited about this and excited to share it with you guys. NPCs are going to be one of the other, I can't even really say creatures of ARK, but you get where I'm going with it when I say creatures of ARK that we're kind of showcasing and spotlighting and telling you the story, essentially, of how it made it into Project Old School and what role that these creatures serve in Project Old School. Now, you cannot tame NPCs. You won't be able to, I know somebody's maybe going to ask this now, can I tame and breed these other humans? No, they exist primarily as a PvE vessel to help you unlock your Ingrams, and you will not be able to tame them or breed them or do anything like that. These NPCs aren't the super cool dino creatures that we love and want to celebrate within Project Old School. Now, all of the dinos and creatures that you see in Project Old School, you'll be able to tame. However, the NPCs would be the exception. They're humanoid. You don't get to tame them. They exist for the one reason and one reason only. But as I mentioned, I'm quite excited about this. I'm really excited to hear what you guys think. Do you also agree that it's a very good vessel to deliver building-related Ingrams to our characters here in Project Old School with our Ingram System revamp? If you do, let us know. If you have any really cool suggestions and want to help influence the development of Project Old School, if you're watching this video at the time that it's still in development, hit us up on discord.gg/nerdparade. Come join, hang out, talk about Project Old School, and even if it's already live by the time you're watching this video, come to the Discord anyway and get the information on how to join the servers and come game out with us. Until the next one, take care of yourselves out there, stay awesome, and come and hang with me again real soon. Later.